Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonride. This is Dave with Man in the Moon, and we're going to be channeling today to see sort of what political events will help us right now. And again, I really want to focus everybody on Man in the Moon. I'm asking specifically what's helpful to know. I don't want people stressing and freaking out. That's not going to do you any good. Spend your days trying to find the lighter side of what's going on, because otherwise you're going to go crazy. You can't control these things. Let's see what Man in the Moon tells us. It's funny because I'm seeing Donald Trump with a big old club, like bam, bam, and he's like clubbing things, and he's just like hitting everything over with a club. It's this heavy-handed behavior. But it's a bit like whack-a-mole because he's trying to heavy-hand everything, and it doesn't. There's no relief. It's just like bang, bang, and every time he heavy-hands something, it's like he's slamming a piece of wood further into the earth. He's kind of making it stronger. And he's looking at me blankly like he doesn't know what to do. He really has no other strategies. There is nothing but bluster from him. I'm getting a weird Friday the 13th thing. I don't know if the Friday the 13th is coming up. What's up with this idea? It might just be like, the movie, like a horror movie. That's maybe kind of the feeling I'm getting right now. Yeah, he shows his own narcissism. He shows his own, it's one thing when you can identify with the bully. You're on the bully's team. But a lot of people aren't going to be on the bully's team. They're going to be the victims. And that's when they're going to really change their minds. There's just fewer and fewer people on the bully team. More and more people on the victim team. I'm getting 30% is a number I keep floating around as a unemployment number. That is what we are looking at. Now, this is terrible. People are going to be out of work, and it's going to be tough. But you know what? It is also going to mean a huge body of people on the street who are very active, who are who are going to want something in return. They're not going to just sit there and wait for something to happen. They are going to go out and demand votes. They're angry. Look, it is serious business right now. People are going to go hungry that have never been hungry before. One advantage that you do have is if you've lived a difficult life, you're going to know how to handle it. You're going to go, I have friends, I have family, people who love me. I'm going to share. I know how to save money, and that's that is an advantage. So if you've lived a life of poverty, you might actually be in a pretty decent position because you're kind of ready. Now everybody's going to be just as poor as you are, but you're going to have the advantage of knowing what to do and how to manage it and how to manage the worries. So don't be too distressed. In some ways, it's just bringing people all to the same level, and that just might need to happen right now. We all have to identify with each other as a community instead of top controlling, judging, and victims. Now we're all going to be in the same boat. So what's Trump going to do? What's something that we need to know, or that would be helpful to know for Trump? Something doesn't work out in terms of like a shipping. Maybe it's like some kind of a deal with another country. I'm seeing a ship that it comes towards the United States, and then Trump's like, "Oh my God, there's nothing on the ship, or it's not working out." It's like some trade deal is not working out. I'm even getting the impression that America might become kind of a pariah. We all talk about keeping them out in the United States, like, oh, we're going to build this wall and keep the bad guys out. Well, if America is the one with the leading infections, that might very well be reversed, and it will be Americans who are not allowed to travel to foreign countries. It will be Mexico who doesn't want us going over there. It looks like I've never seen Trump look so defeated. That usually looks angry and yelling and stuff, but he actually finally looks like he has recognized his defeat. And again, I keep seeing a ship. It's like it kind of has a feeling of like we're being abandoned as the leaders. It is not us who have the power; it's they who have the power. Imagine also that in terms of relationship with China, having a deal with China. Well, we don't have the upper hand right now. They're coming out of this crisis. We're going into it, and we're going to have a long-term financial crisis, which we don't have the power. China has more power. They can control their population. We can't. America cannot stop people from protesting. So Trump needed a win, and he's not gonna get it. Hmm. It's interesting. More and more people are seeing this guy, this medical professional, is it Fauci, as the real president. He's the guy that's giving the real information. He's the guy that's being as diplomatic as possible. And Trump is sort of fading into the background. He's not a president. He's just a media character. And Trump really doesn't like him. He's really mad that Fauci, that egghead, is always correcting him. Hmm. Yeah, I get it. Like Fauci's even going to be a little bit more stringent about correcting Trump, and ultimately, Fauci, I think, will say the truth, about what it was like to work with him when the crisis is over. It'll really make Trump angry. Hmm. It also does not make Trump supporters look good because they're now attacking Fauci. They're just attacking the truth. There's a problem insofar as there's a guy, a military Navy guy, who said he warned that on his ship there were many cases of the virus, and now that guy's going to get fired. He's going to be taken off that ship and put in a different place. There will be some pushback on that one. That's another problem for Trump. So, I mean, in general, understand that this is a really terrible situation, but it is forcing people to acknowledge the reality. And we thought that they couldn't go deeper into denial. But we're being forced, people are being forced. It is bread and butter. It is your survival to see Trump for who he is. Yeah, there's a lot of deaths. I think that some of them might even be close to Trump, like people he cares about, actually. What else, Spirit? What else would we need to know about Trump? Hmm. He's on an empty soccer field, and he's there at the ball with the ball, but nobody wants to play with him. So don't be surprised if the Republicans also abandon him, put a lot of distance between themselves and Donald Trump. He is not going to outlive the graves. He's surrounded by graves. Those aren't going to disappear. The stress around them is not going to disappear in a few months. So he's going to go into the election essentially standing on the bones of the American people. I just don't see any way for him to carry the day. He just isn't going to win. And he's getting more and more stressed out about that. When Trump loses, he's going to immediately be prosecuted for several crimes. And he could just see the end of the game. The judges are waiting. They're just waiting. And there's also his taxes, which are before the Supreme Court. I see a frustrated Supreme Court, specifically I forget who the lead guy is, John. Sometimes when I do this work, I can't remember the words or names. Um, but anyway, you know who I mean, the Supreme Court leader. And he's really wanting to not tell people what the tax returns say. But I get a feeling like he has to. He has no choice. And there was another excuse to delay it because of our present situation. But he has to show it. Yeah. So, here he is still in the soccer field. And there were a few cheerleaders left, but so they've turned against him. It's clear how much money he's swiping. I think he's going to try to swipe more through this new stimulus. And and nobody likes that. Not even Republican senators who supported him like that. And the Republican senators are backed into a corner because they supported him. Now they're not supporting him. Neither one is a good way to get reelected. So they're in a terrible position. They can't criticize the president, but they have to criticize the president. So it's just an untenable situation. And nobody's going to be asking, random questions. They're going to be very pointed questions on their performance. Mm. I keep seeing this one cheerleader. There's like one cheerleader left. But the audience is not paying attention to that cheerleader. She's making all the moves. We're still pretending, but there's no one. No one. It's just like literally they're performing, and the audience is looking elsewhere, and they're looking angry, and they're looking at Trump, and he's totally alone. And you might think of the political field. That's where he is. He is completely alone. There is not one senator who wants to stand beside him when he goes down. All they're going to be able to do is play down their relationship with him. It's going to devastate the House for Republicans. The Senate specifically is going to be devastated. The Democrats may take a supermajority. I'm getting a supermajority, like they lose maybe, they gain maybe even 6 senators in the Senate. So this is going to be a huge political shift. It's funny because it's like a zoo. I'm seeing like a bunch of bears piling on top of each other. I have no idea what that means. What are the bears doing? There's just like a tiny little honeypot. And they're all fighting over the tiny little honeypot. Also I think this is economic. So here are all these powerful characters, but there's not much money to go around. So now they're not just ripping off the American people, they're fighting with each other. And now that it's like, I'm a bigger bear than you, I get the money. No, I get the money. There's not enough money to suit all of the businesses that want it and all of the players and powerful interests that want it. This is going to be key. It's them battling for the money. And, before Trump could give a lot of promises for this and that. Well, they're not going to be able to meet those promises. He's not going to be able to give those donors what they wanted. So they're kind of wondering, why should I give you anything? Why should I give money to your campaign? You didn't give me any money. So that sources of income are going to start to dry up. One reason being there just isn't any money there. They don't have any money to give for these campaigns. And they are definitely less enthusiastic. It's a little bit like they learned their lesson that, hey, maybe these big tax breaks weren't such a good idea after all. They don't have one nickel of that money left. All of it is wasted. So yeah, gee, maybe we were wrong. That's actually even more important because it's actually changing the minds of those people who thought, oh yeah, Republicans are the greatest for the economy. There are people within the Republican Party who are starting to realize maybe not. Maybe actually Dems are better for the economy in the long term. Short term gains aren't where it is at. Mm. It's funny because I have Trump as very much like a fallen angel. Now he never was an angel, but like the fallen, like like in a way he rose and then he directly fell on this field, and nobody seems willing to help him. All right, so I hope that helps. Please stay calm and look as much as you can on the positives that you can do to change your life right now. That is one thing that this is all about. How could you make something good out of this, out of a tragic situation? Thanks so much.